This episode begins with Ashito and the dorm members watching Kuribayashi's debut game. Ashito is trying to predict the moves and formations of the players in the game, while Kato is pointing out the faults in his predictions. Though Kuribayashi fails to assist a goal in the first half of the game, everyone praises him for his extraordinary passing skills and fearless nature. Seeing Ashito shocked to see Kuribayashi play like a master, Kato tells him that she heard Kuribayashi always has 4 options to choose from whenever he's in a difficult situation in a game. As soon as Ashito hears this, he is surprised as he sometimes does not even have a single option to execute. Kato then suggests he increase his bag of skills and options for various situations in a soccer game. She then informs him that he doesn't have to emulate other players, but he can simply be a new player with different attributes and qualities. On the other hand, Kuribayashi tells one of his team players that while playing for his team, he needs to display extraordinary skills and moves in soccer so that the spectators will never forget him. The skills are also important to impress the coach so that he never gets benched. Following this, Kuribayashi helps his team score a couple of goals and he himself scores one to win the game for his team. Ashito and the other dorm members are really impressed by the way Kuribayashi played. After the game, whenever the interviewer suggests he increase his physical strength, Kuribayashi replies that the players only look for physical strength if they are weak in technique, but if mental strength is strong, one can achieve anything on the pitch. He then gives an example of Messi, who is regarded as the best player in the world, despite having a short stature. At last, Kuribayashi concludes by saying that he is one of the best in his team and will soon prove it to the team management. After the game is over, Ashito is still thinking about Kuribayashi's gameplay and the techniques he used in the game. Suspecting that he is thinking about meeting Kuribayashi in person, Kato approaches Ashito and asks him to train hard and improve his skill to get promoted to A-team, where he can talk to Kuribayashi in person. At the same time, the manager informs everyone that the central defender, Yoshitsune, got injured in a match in Aomori, and that some players on the B team might get a chance to get transferred to the A-team if they perform well. Elsewhere, the manager of a top soccer team in Tokyo, Fukuda, talks to Nozomi, the head coach, and tells him that he thinks Ashito can replace Yoshitsune for the next match and win the game for them. Soon, Fukuda, along with other coaches, also arrive to watch them play, and subsequently select one for the A-team. Everyone gets extra motivated to see Fukuda watching them play. Shortly after, the game begins, and rather than passing to his teammates, Ashito tries to replicate Kuribayashi's killer pass and shoots hard, sending the ball away from his teammates. He tries to do so multiple times and fails miserably, making his teammates angry at him. Before the second half begins, Fukuda meets the junior team and suggests they focus on the role given to them, rather than scoring on their own. With these words from Fukuda, all the players seem calm and in charge. In the second half, Ashito executes the plan well and, as suggested by Nozomi, provides a perfect pass for the attacking midfielder, Otomo. Just then, Otomo passes the ball back, helping Ashito to score a world-class goal. Everyone is very pleased with the goal and impressed with Ashito's vision of the game. Right then, Fukuda thinks of calling Ashito to the meeting room to exchange a few words with him regarding the game. In the next scene, Ashito arrives at the meeting room where Fukuda is waiting for him. Excited, Ashito mentions that he's really grateful to Fukuda for bringing him to the school where he is constantly learning and improving. He then requests Fukuda to promote him to the A-team and also promises to perform better. To his dismay, Fukuda refuses to upgrade him and furthermore asks him to quit the position of a forward and play as a backline defender. Ashito is so shocked to hear this, but Fukuda tells him that it was his plan to make him a defender since the moment he saw him play. When Ashito refuses to be a defender, Fukuda threatens him to leave if he cannot let go of this desire, and also gives him reasons why he cannot be a forward. He claims that Ashito is too selfish to be a forward, and that his physical attributes suit him more as a defender. Hearing this, Ashito breaks down in tears and walks out of the place. And to make matters worse, Kato notices him in this state and becomes perplexed. The next day, when the team is about to play a practice game, the players are surprised to not find Ashito around. Soon, the manager of the team arrives there and replaces Ashito with another player. Following this, when the players enter their dressing room, they are shocked to see their team's new formation. On the whiteboard, it is clearly written that Ashito is transferred to the position of defender. Some of the players, including Nakamura, Otomo, Otomo and Togashi immediately start worrying for Ashito, as they are well aware about how desperate Ashito wants to be a forward. Otomo also messages Hana about Ashito's situation and asks her to help in finding him. Surprisingly, Nozomi also seems unhappy with Fukuda's decision of turning Ashito into a defender. Though Fukuda has a history of being right on different occasions, he suspects that this might not turn out as he predicted. On the other hand, Hana sets off to search for Ashito and finds him outside the bus station. She takes him to a nearby club apartment and prepares food for him. She then expresses her dissatisfaction with Fukuda's decision, but still assures that he might have some solid reasons to do so. Furthermore, when Ashito does not eat food and seems sad, she calls his mother and forces him to speak to her. Ashito's mother recognizes him immediately and asks him if everything is all right. Ashito replies that he is fine and she should not worry about him. In the next scene, Kuribayashi arrives at the dorm, looking for Ashito. He meets Yoshitsune in the gym and asks him about Ashito. Yoshitsune makes a joke about the boy and tells Kuribayashi that he is missing. At the same time, Ashito arrives at the place where he is quickly surrounded by the dorm members. Everyone looks at him with a sad face, but he seems to be fine, calmed by Hana's words. He then decides to visit the dorm mother to apologize to her for breaking the curfew. When he is about to leave, Yoshitsune arrives there and mocks him for being a useless forward. Despite this, Ashito comes closer to Yoshitsune and requests him to teach him defense. Everyone, including Yoshitsune, is surprised to see Ashito behaving like this. Later, Asuri and Togashi also agree to teach the basics of defending to Ashito. The following day, Ashito is asked to play his first game as a defender. As he is getting ready, he is approached by Nozomi, who asks him to do his best. Ashito then enters the field and becomes amazed to see his wide vision of players from a fullback defender's position. He mentions that he can see each and every player of his team and the opponent team from the place, aiding him in making his game plan. As suggested by Asuri, he speaks to a professional defender, Takashima, and requests him to give him suggestions about the position. Takashima tells him to shuffle frequently and keep his eye on the ball. Hearing this, Ashito gets determined to perform better in the position and prove his worth to Fukuda. In the next scene, Ashito is playing as a defender and is finding it hard to shuffle among the players. Every time he notices the ball going forward, he desires to go on attack as a defender. However, Takashima suggests he keep an eye on the team players and get into an attack position accordingly. But when Ashito leaves his side wide open and goes to attack, the opponent team counterattacks and scores a goal. Seeing this, Takashima gets angry at Ashito, prompting the latter to believe that the defending position is not meant for him. However, when the opponent team player berates him and asks him to return home, Ashito gets enraged and on their next attack, clears the ball like a proper defender. After the game is over, Takashima approaches Ashito and praises his in-game vision and calculation. He further suggests he work on shuffling his position and keeping an eye on his team players. Takashima then leaves, but not before asking Ashito to keep working hard till he enjoys the position of defending. Meanwhile, Kato visits Takashima and inquires with him about his thoughts on Fukuda changing Ashito's playing position. At first, Takashima refuses to answer her question, but when Kato explains soccer and mentions that she thinks Ashito should play as a midfielder, he gets impressed with her understanding of soccer and agrees with her. Takashima then mentions that as Ashito has a natural talent to remember each player's position, including his opponents, he can have a clearer vision of being a defender and can execute his plans better. At last, he concludes that Fukuda might have made Ashito a defender to utilize his natural talent and to make him a playmaker for the team. This is because every offensive move starts from the defense, and they are critical in analyzing the tempo of the game. After Kato told him to incorporate some of Kuribayashi's defending skills, Ashito visits the management team and asks for Kuribayashi's gameplay videos for study purposes. Nozomi is surprised to hear this, but he, however, provides him with the videos. Throughout the night, Ashito observes how Kuribayashi moves his head around while playing, and especially while receiving the ball. He notes down the basic skills for having a look around oneself while playing and decides to execute them when he plays. The next day, as Ashito is playing a practice game, he finds it difficult to implement the skill of moving his head around while playing to get to know about the opponent's position. Every time he tries to do so, he loses the ball and gets scolded by the team members. He himself gets frustrated for being unable to implement the skills and blames himself for causing trouble to his team. Kato is also also looking at his gameplay and is happy to see that Ashito found out the skill she was trying to apply in their conversation before. Despite failing and getting scolded several times, Ashito doesn't give up and keeps on trying. His hard work finally pays off as he eventually manages to work out the skill. With this, he executes a perfect pass to Otomo, surprising everyone watching the game, including Nozomi and Kato. Following this, Kato visits Ashito, who is not even included in the B team. She approaches him and tries to console him to keep working hard. At the same time, Ashito asks her if he can suggest to him some ways to improve his skills in looking around with a ball on his feet. Kato feels pressure and immediately comes up with an idea for asking Ashito to juggle the ball with his feet while kicking it high in the air and trying to look around until it lands on his foot. She then asks him to continue practicing this until he perfects the skill and starts looking around as a habit. Ashito finds the idea wonderful and he promises to master it soon. On the other hand, Kuribayashi meets with Hana and asks her to make a diet plan for him as he wants to keep himself fit for his international appearance. Hana is surprised to know that Kuribayashi recognizes him and immediately agrees to make the diet plan for him, but under one condition. She mentions that Kuribayashi has to meet Ashito and give him some tips about mastering the major skills in soccer. Unfortunately, when she is saying so, she also notices Kato and Ashito walking together on the street. Upset and envious at seeing Ashito with someone else, she dismisses her condition and accepts Kuribayashi's proposal to make a diet plan for him. Meanwhile, Ashito keeps practicing the skill that Kato taught her without any hesitation or frustration. It is clear that he just wants to be good at defending and serving his team. The scene then fast forwards by a month where B team has lost 4 games in a row and is bound to face a strong team in their next game. They are on the verge of being relegated to the lower leagues. As Ashito is out of the team, the other players discuss the possible combinations to win the games. Tachibana, who is playing as a forward on the team, blames himself for the team's loss, but other players back him up and mention that it's the team's fault. At the same time, Ashito forgets to attend the team meeting and can be seen practicing the same skill of moving his head with the ball on his feet. He is determined to master the skill one way or another. Moments later, Tachibana approaches Ashito and praises his dedication to the game. He also mentions that he wants to be like Ashito and sharpen his skills till he can use them unconsciously. Right then, Otomo and Togashi also arrive there and suggest that they go out and have a special meal, and Ashito immediately agrees. Later, when they arrive at their favorite place, they meet Nakano, their ex-team member who is now a member of their upcoming opponent team, Musashino. Excited, Ashito and Otomo approach Nakano and ask him how he ended up in Musashino FC. Nakano then tells him that after he got rejected from Esperion FC, he along with another member of Esperion were contacted by Musashino's manager and offered a suitable deal. As the two are talking, there arrives Kaneda, another former team member who was also a member of the Musashino team. Sadly, when Ashito puts his hand on his shoulder, Kaneda throws it away and blames him for his rejection from the Esperion team. He seems upset with the junior team of Esperion FC. This episode ends with everyone being shocked to hear those bitter words coming out from Kaneda's mouth.